In this session, we'll understand about functions in C language. Let's first understand why there is a need of functions in C language. We can always make programs without the use of functions in C language, but if we were to make programs like that, they would have been a bit more clumsier, very long programs, and inefficient to understand. Therefore, to make our programs better and efficient to understand, we make the help of functions. A function in a C language is a set of instructions that perform a certain task. That is, you can name a function with a meaningful name and encapsulate a set of instructions inside it, and whenever you need to execute those set of instructions, you can just call that function by its name and those instructions will be executed in place as it is. There are a variety of predefined functions in C. Now, when we say predefined functions, it means that functions which have already been written, compiled, and linked to our program at the time of linking. For example, printf, scanf, main, etc. These three are the main predefined functions in C which are used most frequently in almost all programs in C. The printf function causes anything which is written between the double quotes to be printed out on the screen. The scanf function accepts values from the user. For example, there are certain times when the program would need to accept certain values from the user entered from an input device such as a keyboard. At those times, we use the scanf function. The main function is the most important function in the C programming language because the flow of control starts from the main function itself. Having understood about predefined functions in C, let's understand about user-defined functions and why they are required. The first use of user-defined function is the need of customized set of instructions. That means the C programming language is very confined in predefined functions. That means you don't have predefined functions for performing all kinds of tasks in C language. That means you can customize the use of function according to your need also. In those cases, you use user-defined functions. For example, if you need to add two numbers, two integers, you don't have a predefined function to add two integers. In those cases, you can make your own user-defined function, name it, say, addition, and encapsulate the functionality of adding those integers inside that function addition. Whenever you need to add those two integers, you can just call the function by its name, which is addition, and the entire functionality will take place as it is. In cases where a certain set of code statement needs to be repeated several times in a program, in those cases you cannot always write those code of statements every time in the program. It will make the program a very large, very clumsy and inefficient to understand. Therefore, whenever you need to execute a certain code of statements several times in the program, you can just make a function, encapsulate the functionality inside that function, and whenever there is a need to call that function, you can call that function by its name, and all those set of instructions will be executed as it is in place. Let's understand how user-defined functions work and what are their syntax. There are three basic elements inside a user-defined function: the function definition, the function call, and the function declaration. The function definition is nothing but the set of instructions we want to get executed. The function call is the call we give to the function whenever we need to execute those set of instructions. The function declaration is the declaration of the function we give in the beginning of the program. In the beginning of the program, we need to mention what all functions will be defined in that program. That is known as the function declaration. Let's understand the syntax in place. First, we mention the return type of the function. Now, what is this return type? The return type is the data type of the value returned by the function. For example, if we consider the addition example, if we are adding two integer values, the answer is but obvious going to be an integer. That is why the return type of the addition function will be an integer. So the value returned by the function, the data type of that value is known as the return type of that function. Next comes the function name, for example addition in our case, or you can give any meaningful name to the function according to the function it is performing. Next goes the parameter list. Now what is this parameter list? Let's understand that with the help of the addition example. Supposedly, we have made a function named addition for adding two integer values. In that case, the function will accept two integer values from the user. Only then it will be able to perform addition on those values. So in that case, the addition function will accept two integer values, which it will take as parameters into it. Inside comes the local variable declarations. We can locally declare many variables inside a function, but those variables will only be referred inside that function, and you cannot call those variables outside the function declaration. Let's understand the flow of control in the C programming language. The program execution in a C language starts with a main function. Now, if you have been thinking that the program execution starts from the very first line of code, you were wrong. That's not how it works. The program execution rather starts from the main function. That is, once you'll compile your code, the control will look for the main function in the entire program. As soon as it will find the main function, it will start executing the set of code written inside the main function and look for variables and functions found inside the main function in the entire program later. For example, let's consider this example. As soon as the compiler encounters the main function, it will start executing the code of statements written inside this function. As soon as it encounters function 1 call, it will find function 1 call in the entire program, find the function 1, execute its definition, return its value back to the calling function, and again start proceeding inside the main function. Secondly, it encounters function 2. Again, it will look for function 2 in the entire program. As soon as it finds function 2, it starts executing the set of statements written inside function 2. It encounters function 3, will look for function 3 in the entire program, find function 3, executing the code of statements written inside function 3, return the value returned by this function back to the calling function, which is function 2, execute the set of code written inside function 2, return the value returned by function 2 back to the calling function, which is main, again proceed, will find function 1 in the entire program, execute the set of statements written inside function 1, and return the value returned by this function back to the calling function. Which means that whenever a function is encountered, the control goes to the function definition and returns back to the calling function. Thank you for listening. We'll understand about task 1 in the next video session.